Wanderers, welcome to the Wanderings with me, AJ.
And me, Natalie.
Were you like, what?
I'm waiting. Like, there's going to be a cue coming.
That was cute. It's Wednesday night. We get to talk about good stuff. Our topic tonight is home is where the heart is. What a great topic. We'll give all the kudos to Natalie. She picked this topic and it resonates with each of us so differently. We don't really or ever really pregame our show. We just get on here as authentically as possible and just start talking. So you never know what's going to happen or what perspectives, but just because we know each other, we know we have different points of view.
That's right.
Or similar, or, different. Hi, Wonders. Thanks for piling into the chat room. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. If you have a question, make sure you guys type them in all caps. Say hello in one of the chat rooms over on YouTube or Facebook. That way you can meet other wanderers and have conversation behind the scenes, which we love. It's all about community. And if you are new to the show, make sure you guys go and visit our website, soulwanderings.com. You can learn a little more about Natalie and myself. And if you have a show topic request, you can email us at connect@soulwanderings.com. During the day, Natalie and I hang out at this cool place called Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit. To learn more about that and what we do and offer, visit vibesnow.com. And if you have not yet liked or subscribed to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page or our Instagram, please do so. We are just getting newly started on these platforms, all on our lonesome, all by ourselves. And the more the merrier. Am I right?
You are correct. Initiate all those people to help spread.
Like this video, like the page, subscribe to the page, get the reminders, all the good things so that you can hang out with us on Wednesday nights, because we make spirituality and real life human stuff simple. We hope to inspire you, entertain you, inform you, whatever that looks like and feels like for you. We hope we can do that.
And empower you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Let's empower them.
I'm all about empowerment. That's my job.
Yeah. And here I am saying hope. And that's her job too. Natalie's a hoper. Is that a word?
It is for me. Hoper.
Natalie's way more serious than I am. I was talking about this with a coworker today, how we're both she was saying how we're both so different, but we just jive together. And I was like, yeah, I'm the one that's like all jokes and not so serious. And Natalie is very stay on topic, AJ.
Such a Capricorn. This is serious business. Wait, I'm supposed to be laughing. Okay, well, but back to the serious stuff. Like,
yeah, and I make serious stuff. I don't know. I guess I just laugh when it's serious. I know there's some reverence in serious things and I can appreciate that, but I'm also like, let's not take things too seriously.
Unless we have to.
When Natalie comes in from a practical side, I come in from more of a spiritual side, and spirituality is kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. Oh, the cosmic joke. I said that today. Oh, yes. It is such a drama and a cosmic joke. It's not necessarily, well, I don't know. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to the conversation today because I know we're going to bring in different things that my experience with home and house and home, and it's been this ancestral cleanup sort of thing. Then this topic comes straight up from my life. Something that happened in the last few weeks that I said, oh, why don't we talk about home?
Let's talk about it.
And if it's really where the heart is, or
Mm-hmm.
this concept of home, because no.
Yeah. Well, seeing how this was your topic and you're like already talking about it, why don't you lead us into the conversation? How about that?
So I'm going to start with home. Okay, so we did home is where the heart is,
Home
which
is
is
where the
this,
heart is.
right? But sometimes, and I have found throughout my life that my heart isn't always fully in my house the same way my heart is in my work. So I find this disconnect for me, that even where I go home or to my house where I live, it is not the same vibrancy and it's not the same life experience that I have than in my work. So I find myself more at home in my, and it's work, but it's not like I have employment. I get the opportunity to do what I absolutely love in a cozy place that feels like a living room. My office space or wherever I meet my clients really feels like a living room. So it feels homey. And that's where my heart home is been in the where I've worked, especially since I left my federal government job lots of years ago. And so I've been going through this experience, and I've also at the same time for several weeks, months, been doing some serious ancestral cleanup. So I have to tell you, and we have, if you go backwards in our soul wanderings, or if you've been a long time listener, you've heard some of our shows where we had people on that did ancestral healing. Well, it's a serious, I mean, not serious to use that word, but that there really is truth and benefit in doing ancestral cleanup. Our DNA carries our ancestral personality. And so through this work and a karmic connection I have with my mom, who I've grown to love. I haven't always loved this. So we have karmic connections with people. My mom happens to be in playing card astrology, my mom is a karma card to me. And so I just discover along the way that there's these things that I picked up specifically from my mom. This happens all the time. But in ancestral healing, you start to uncover things, and then organically it comes up at the different people that I work with. So the house I've been trying to figure out, why do I have this disconnect between where I work and where I live? And I want to have a homey, I want my heart to be at home in my house. And so I've been really diligently working at that intellectually. And the mind is only good at analyzing so far. And then you need to like call in the troops and find your other people, your tribe or your different support people that help you move along with things that you can't just heal with the mind. Mm-hmm. So I had an experience recently with one of my, I'd say, one of the practitioners that I interact with. And I took him this problem, I don't feel, this is my house. And he's like, well, I find that fascinating. You're using verbiage house, not home. Okay, let's kind of clean this up. So it's been a few things. And then when I find just letting this practitioner do what they do, they're skilled at it, been doing it for a long time. Let someone do the practice that I'm good at what I do. Other people do this. And then I find, layers. And so changing my house and researching, and it was my mom was not, and it really isn't one of those better homes and gardens kind of lady. She's very, very, very practical, she's not emotionally defined in human design terms. So she sets up her house in a very practical way. So I didn't learn that growing up. And I think I just got that from her. So this discovery process, but that doesn't mean I have to be without it. There's cool techniques people have to just it's like, let's take this part out and we're going to put in this part. This actually works in us humans. We just re-script our program. So it's a beautiful opportunity. So I'm starting to fall in love, and my house is starting to become a home, and I find this desire in my side when I go home. It's like, okay, I can caretake this place, and it won't feel like a burden. It won't be overwhelming. So this is where this particular topic came from, that said, if you exist in a house or an apartment or a place and you do not feel at home and your heart just isn't singing, it doesn't even have to be singing, but if you just notice that this is I feel you. That's just me connecting with you. I feel you. There's some of us that don't have that. And finding your way to where you can figure that out, but be open and honest and say, it's just, this isn't me, but this doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that there's an aspect that can be healed and discovered. So that's my intro into this conversation.
First of all, kudos for being so vulnerable and authentic with us tonight. That was awesome. I love learning little pieces about you in that way. And thanks for inviting us into that space with you.
I made it.
You did it. It's so good. From that point of view, I have a similar point of view as far as that realm goes. And then I also have a separate point of view from a past experience. So my mother was the type of mother who always made the house feel like a home. There were always plants and music playing and incense burning, and the house always had to be tidy and everything had a place, and it just, when you came home, it was always just like, I'm home. And that's just the way she showed her love, right? Is to make your place feel safe. And so I didn't have that. Same with my father, because I had two separate homes. It was the same way. And so my experience was much different. And so my home definitely is a home, not a house. Although it's not where I'm going to hang my heart, right? It's a temporary place for me. And so I make my surroundings the way that I want to just feel and embody that heart aspect. And so my house, I keep it the same way I was raised. I like things a certain way, tidy, and plants and music and incense and all of those beautiful things. It just sets space and gives a good vibe. But for me, when we talk about home is where the heart is, and here I go from a spiritual point of view, because that's me. I had a NDE, a near-death experience in 2012, and I've talked about it on and off throughout the years of doing soul wanderings. And, as you would hear from many people who have had NDEs before and what that looked like and felt like, they always come out of those experiences saying, I just want to go home. This is not my home. I just want to go home. I want that feeling back again. And I resonate with that very much. And also, I know it's not my time to go to that place, and I have work here to do. And so that feeling, I have committed to embodying wherever I am at. So whether it be in my workspace or in my house, to have that energy of heart, that energy of a home wherever I am at. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So that this is an observation of how I know you, and you bring that with you, but then there's sometimes for you kind of hard struggle being in your body, which is where your heart is, and in the body, and so wherever your body is, then you're bringing your heart, but then that's a hard thing too sometimes.
Yeah, if we want to talk about the body, so I struggle with some diagnoses that I'm working on healing. And it's interesting because when I was in that space, even though it came from a very traumatic space and was very painful, in that space and time, there was no pain. There was no weight of this meat suit, right? Everything that was going on in my human experience, as traumatic as it was, wasn't existing in this other dimension of where I was at. And since then, I've carried a lot of the physical pain from that experience with me. And there are times I've even sat with you and 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 I probably have cried quite a bit, just like I'm really exhausted and I really am
Mhm.
tired and I don't want to be here anymore. Not that I have um any desire to do anything to go anywhere else. I know I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, and when I say those things, it's no one needs to worry. It's not like that for me. It's just this longing to be in
Homesickness.
the yes, it's a homesickness. It's like this longing to be in a place that doesn't feel like this, right? It isn't dense. It isn't heavy. It isn't um, negative. It
Mhm.
doesn't have all of these trials and experiences. But what I love about what you shared was the ancestral healing. It doesn't matter where you live or where you work. The energy in which you carry is, to me, this is your home. This is your home. Your physical body is your home. And how you decide to create this environment. So, by doing the ancestral healing, by working on your health and well being, I find that the most important thing that you can do and the most important way to feel at home, whether that be in your body in a location. Ancestral healing is incredibly powerful, as
Mhm.
you know. I mean, we both have been doing that quite a bit. And when I first heard about ancestral healing, I was just kind of like, that's interesting, but I don't understand how I can heal other beings through mine, right? How is that even possible? But when you look at it from a point of view as we are all connected, and
Mhm.
it's not just ancestral in our DNA, we're all pieces of each other. We're all fragments of the same source. And when we heal, we give people around us an opportunity to heal, whether they're blood or not, just by being the home for ourselves through energetic example and transference, we give others an opportunity to have the same like healing and feelings.
So this was one of the things that in my most recent experience where I said, there's as humans and in relationship with other people, we'll often look at the other as perhaps the source or a difficulty. And if someone could do something different, then it would adjust and change the experience. And
Mhm,
I actually said, no, look, I really strive. I If I'm not comfortable in my skin, then there's something that I just need to tweak. I not that I'm broken or wrong. I just recognize the fact that if I'm not comfortable in my skin, there's some tweaking, there's adjustments that can be made, and a
mhm.
lot through healing. Trauma is not even trauma healing, but energetic healing.
Yeah.
The fact that we do not have to live the way that we're living, and that these bodies of ours are amazing at
Mhm.
healing and figuring it out and having places to listen to and all of those aspects that I know you and I deepen our understanding about being in the skin through human design and living the design, and we've got some guidance through the map of ourselves, and through all the different modalities that we've been exposed to.
Mhm.
So I said, I just know I'm not comfortable in my skin. He's like, okay. So he did his thing and figured out and did some muscle testing and narrowed it down to some event that happened when I was 8. It was connected with my mom. And it's like, okay, let's heal that. We don't even have to know what. People are like, what happened? I don't know. There was something, because emotional events or things get stuck in our auric field, and then they cause a disease or a distress, or you have this sort of patterning that happens after a situation when you're young. Most often things go back to our childhood, and then this pattern starts that you don't recognize until somewhere down the road. So
Yes.
for me, this finally got to the place in my life where it was ready to be healed. And I stepped into that place, and he did some things, and he's like, okay, then I checked out clear, and he's like, it can't be that easy. And I said, well, I mean, just a lot that happened before this moment
Yeah.
to have it clear. And I'm delighted in just the shifts, the subtle shifts that I'm feeling in my own skin, in my own place, and how I can see, okay, that little bit healed. There's always work. I mean, literal physical work and aspects of taking care of my house, and really creating it a different, loving myself and loving my home, and bringing that heart into the space in a different way that's now available where it wasn't available before. It's like layers. If you scoop off several inches of dirt, then you can see what's below the layers. And that's what I felt like happened. Like these
Yeah.
layers got removed, and then this other that was buried underneath it that wasn't available until this now.
Right.
It's always right on time. There's divine timing.
Yes.
And so then I can tap into that. And I trust this life. I just trust it. And it's a beautiful experience to be able to trust that my life is going to bring me everything that I need to do for my own health and well-being, and then I can share that with the world.
Yes. But that is a developed practice, the trust.
Yes.
That is not something
yes.
we're like, we're just going to trust, because as
No.
humans, that's not a natural thing for us to do, especially when it's deeper inner healing work. It really does require a commitment to surrender, and then practicing it on repeat, on repeat. If you guys have any questions, make sure you type them all up in caps. We'll get to as many as we can. But just for fun, what makes you guys feel at home? Like where is where is your heart? Like how do you create an environment that feels like home is where your heart is? There
And
is,
is your heart where that is? Yes.
yeah. So type it up in chat, and we'll share with the audience to help support each other. Um, there was a question, what if you feel like you don't have a place that feels like home? I know we've covered some of that, but if you're just in the beginning of a journey of, home is where you hang your heart kind of thing, what would you say to a client who is like, well, I because you're experiencing that right now, you're going through that transition right now. What would you have to offer them?
So one of the things that just my intuition showed me is that sometimes we can explore some, what would it look like? So you could journal about it, or you could write about it, or you could collage about, if I had a home, it would look like this. So you would do those types of things too. So, okay, granted, and you could acknowledge the fact that you don't feel at home. And so, okay, I don't feel at home. So what would home feel like to you? And do not just stop at I don't know.
Right.
Because that doesn't get you any further than the stuck place that you're in, or the experience you're currently having. So you can think about sometimes we don't go into other people's houses. Sometimes houses are really private, that we don't often get exposure to what other people's homes are like. That was another experience I had, that when I would go into other people's home environment, I was like, oh, well, okay, I've got this different idea in my head, and realizing that there's a lot of houses or homes that were similar to mine. And so it was like, oh, okay, this is actually not like so far out. So if you're not feeling like you've got a home, or you've got this environment, what would it look like? Start brainstorming, put some pictures together. The universe is very abundant, and beneficent is what I was going to say, which is a big word. It was like, so it wants to give us everything. It will give us everything that we have and hold inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
So we've got to tweak that. And we talk a lot about this, but you got to start imagining something beyond what you have that then allows for that to show up in a way.
Right. What is it that you're longing for? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Embody those energies, like manifest them into your space.
Right. And then if that's really hard for you, along my path, there was someone that said she didn't know what she even liked. She got so lost in her life at one point, she didn't even know what she liked. So she just started by going to the store and smelling the different soaps. Well, what kind of soap would I like if I were to choose among the variety of scents? Just start little. You can just start little. What kitchen towels? You go to a kitchen towel place and go, well, what would I put in my kitchen where you didn't have to please anyone else but yourself? Then you could choose what would your, this is little things, little details of you would put your personality into your space. And sometimes people don't allow themselves to choose those things. Just like, well, buy some of your own personal towels or your own, what color, maybe even a color would you put? And these are little steps that start to build that you got to get involved too. That's the other thing. You got to put some skin in your game. You got to put your skin in the house and your personality and put it out there. And there could be conditioning previous in your life that said a house needs to be done this way or home needs to be done this particular way. So you haven't felt free throughout your life to even build your own space. So then you're just relying on everybody else's personality. And I don't care. This guy that I met, oh, he was so fun to have great conversations with, but he was a car guy. And so in his living room were car things. Radiator grill, headlight things.
I bet he was so happy though.
It was his home. You decorate there's all kinds of ways to decorate a living environment. Yeah. And so explore what feels for you. Because there's not a limitation here.
And also, it's not just material possessions. If you want to embody a feeling, really like guided meditations or the journaling, like Natalie said, are really powerful tools. And the sound of your voice, like speak it out loud, speak it into existence, because everything carries a vibration and everything is energy. You don't have to fork out a lot of money to decorate your home to make it feel like that's where your heart is. Those are just little aspects of like things that you can do. We are receiving some answers, and let's go to this question. Actually, this will be a good one because of what how we're both working on generational healing and all that good stuff. Does muscle testing play into ancestral clearing?
Yes.
I knew someone who used to clear generational trauma. Is that the same thing? So I don't want to speak for Natalie, but the experience that she's referring to, the practitioner is the same one that I've been going to recently as well. And for me, muscle testing is a big part of the clearing,
What it does is that our bodies know what needs to be cleared on a cellular level. The cells are already giving themselves up to be cleared. And this beautiful magic that's beyond mind, beyond our intellect to understand. And so that's...
And our head doesn't get in the way.
Correct.
And so it's not like a question is asked and then we're like, and then we're coming up with all of these different answers. It's a simple testing of the body, and the body knows. The body knows. Here's another: safe space. You can be yourself without judgment. It's a great one. And then there was another one that it was to answer the question you guys asked. Home for me music production and self-expression. I've been producing electronic music for 9+ years, and I love sharing that part of my portal with others. Music is amazing at making your house feel like a home. So I think music is a healer for me. So oh, here's another one. A place where you can experiment and find what you like is amazing.
Indeed.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback, you guys. We really appreciate it. You add to the show when you do that. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Do you want to talk for a minute about uh, how about if we need to remove energies or different things from the home or from
Mhm.
your house that are actually inhibiting a heart-centered place,
Mm,
like your television?
like your television. I guess if you're not watching something like Gaia or, there's
Well, it's just
get it
how
off, turn it
some
off,
people, yes, some people run a
or soul
television.
wanderings,
Well, no, let that happen.
just saying.
We don't have commercial breaks.
And
It's
we're
for
only an hour. We're not going to take much of your time.
not much. Um, as going through your house with different eyes, if we enter someone else's home, we'll see things that are just everyday items for them. So there are times where it's important to go into your house or your home with new eyes for a minute and see uh, what needs to be moved, what hasn't been shifted, um, listening to the different ambient sounds. And I bring up the television because it can become such a habitual thing that you don't really think about the pharmaceutical ads that run through the advertisements, or just the different quality of what's coming through that that television and
Mhm.
what's actually being fed, and that all that
Well,
stuff does its energy.
well, even just like the electronic energy, just
Mhm.
having electronics running. Yeah. Here's a comment. This makes me think of electromagnetic radiation. Too much of it can throw you off balance. Take time to ground yourself outside and recenter.
That's right.
Thank you, Soul Portal.
Yeah.
New to the show, adding some goodness. Thank you very much. Home is where the heart is. Every time so when you were coming up with the topic and you're like, home is where the heart is, I automatically went to the 80s when toll painting was a thing. The wood, and then you'd have a little dots in the little wooden house, the heart in the middle with the saying, home is where the heart is. And so it took me back to that too. And I was really feeling like, what did home feel like me when I was young? Because, I came from what is considered a broken home. I never looked at it as a broken home. I just, it was kind of normal that parents got divorced or remarried, and things were always shifting and changing. And I always found solace in my bedroom. I spent a lot of time creating an environment in my bedroom where it was just my place, where I could decorate it how I wanted. And I've always created, and so I always had my artwork on the walls, or I had this like 3-inch ring binder full of poems and song lyrics, especially song lyrics, or writing them myself, or even just like as I listen, writing the words. And it was a creative process and also a very cathartic process for me. And it just made me feel like, this is my home. This is my safe place. And it was really important as a child. So that's where I went to when you were like, home is where the heart is. I was like, what does that feel like? What does that feel like in this human body? Because the experience that I automatically go to when I think of home has nothing to do with this place. Not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
not even a little bit.
Not
Like,
even.
I'm grateful. Like, I feel like home is where the heart is here in this space. I mean, we do so much heart healing at Vibes. It's just incredible. And also, my home has become my sanctuary too. So, but it's very different, right? The energy is just very different in that space than it is in this space. And so just feeling on that, like what does that look like and feel like for me? And I feel like every place I I spend the most of my time in on some level has heart in it or feels like home to a certain degree. But I feel like a part of me is always missing now because I know I don't feel like whole and and complete, if you will, until I'm back to wherever we go.
Well,
I think
the
it's
body.
different for everyone.
Oh, yes, the body is inherently a limitation, and we learn so much when we go from the spirit, the energy, the essence, the ethers
Mhm.
into a form that has limits.
Yeah.
That's this part of the, for whatever reason, spirit maybe gets bored. We come here. Plus, form is from my understanding, is where we work it out, where we
Yeah.
have the opportunity to transmute in this space, in this material plane. We can
Mhm.
transmute. This is, those of us that are in body are the ones that are capable of doing the ancestral healing, because our
Yeah.
ancestors, those that have died before us, um, aren't in the body. They don't have an opportunity to play it out different, to be the link that breaks the chain of dysfunctional family
Mm.
things, or just the trauma that may have been experienced a long time ago, or shifts or changes. That's right, cellular memory. And so, if when we heal, it really does heal forward and backwards in time. If you're the one that set out to break the chain, that's a beautiful thing. You do it in the body, where you're playing out and being in the human form, and so it is denser. We're
Mhm.
contained in a structure that doesn't exist outside of form. So it's this opportunity. And
Mm.
I've said it before, I know, but it's really true. I have this opportunity in the nuclear family I grew up with, and with Natalie Peace is my name, and me being in this path and on this fractal, to do the best I can to be me. I'm not trying anymore. Years and years ago I tried. I was so envious and admirable. I admired people's qualities, about them. Fortunately, I had a really creative therapist that said, well, those are just don't try to be the person, but take note of the qualities a person's embodies, and take note of that, and look for that within yourself, instead of trying to be a different person. That's another aspect of not really being at home, is trying to be someone that you're not. when
Yeah.
you when you're in the skin that you're in, it has its own way and function. And that's the beautiful thing that we find in human design, is that it gives us the ability to be the way that we're designed to operate, and let go of the things that we're not, and be comfortable, more and more and more comfortable in the skin, basically at home in yourself. And then you can change the world around you by doing those things.
Mm. Oh, geez, Natalie, you're always bringing in the goodness. I'm just listening to you and really soaking in what you're saying, and I, as well as handfuls of other people that I know, especially women, have like this journey with their bodies, right?
Mhm.
Not just in the way they look, but bodies are complicated and they don't always operate the way that you would hope. And that's just part of the human experience. But just really coming to like, oh, I don't want to say coming to terms, that's not what I'm looking for. Just being very aware of the experiences that you're having in your body, and loving them and yourself anyway. helps so much. Like the war that, you know, I'm just trying to decide how vulnerable I want to get. it my, you know, trauma. So the best way that I can explain this, just for me in my experience, like most of my life was filled with trauma. And I would say 90% of that had to do with my body. And so, you develop this relationship with your body, and it's the undoing. It's the learning to honor your body and respect your body and love your body and take care of your body. It's 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 the home that you'll always have, right? It's the place that you'll always have as long as you're here having this human experience. You can move, you can travel, you can go to other people's places. You'll always have this as long as you are here. And so I think that's the most important thing for me, for my opinion, is like, how are you embodying heart within your home?
Very well put.
You started it.
She had this funny intuitive flash. It was funny to see it, but basically what played out in my mind is that, okay, so we're all soul pieces stuck in bodies, and there's a lot of people that don't really enjoy the body journey. A lot of people don't, and they take it out on other people, and that's an effect of us running around in this limited suit. And there's a lot of people in this world that don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They're angry. They're frustrated. They'll use substances to numb out the body. There's all these things in this human experience because we're pretty dysfunctional on a, not completely dysfunctional, but there's a lot of dysfunction in this form. It's just we live in a world that doesn't teach us how to navigate these. These are spaceships. Basically, we are objects moving through space. We're like little spaceships running around, and there's a whole slew of humans running into each other.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot in your home, like wherever you grew up. There's humans bumping into each other there and doing their best to navigate that inner space in a home or house environment. And people don't do it well. We're messy people.
Yeah.
And it's not all messy, but I think that's part of the point. And I'm not, I hadn't come from as much trauma as a lot of people that I work with in my practice that have been through a lot of difficult things. I had my own thing, I have my own journey. I'm not expecting to be anyone else's. And some people took on, if we have soul contracts and that's a thing, you remember you signed on the line to climb into that body and to experiment with the best you could. So sometimes you'd be like, ooh, I have done this in my life to understand that my spirit self knew I could handle this. So that gave me a bit of confidence to keep on going.
That's the constant reminder I play on repeat. Seriously. Like, you signed up for this. You signed up for this. You signed up for this.
That which meant I could do it
for a lot.
What was my self thinking? They could see beyond that.
Well, there was this rumor before I came down here that if I stood in the line and got dished out all of these things, that I wouldn't have to come back again. And I was like, me, pick me, pick me. I want to do that. I want to do that line. And granted, I act like when I say that I've been through so much, but in comparison to a lot of people, I have not. And I'm grateful, right? I'm grateful that I've been given just enough that I can get through. Just enough for me to have some extra growth. Just enough for me to have some awareness. I've never been given more than I can handle. And my heart is still hanging on.
We do have to keep reminding ourselves. So we have to be there's one person that can hear the inner voices. And so if that
Mhm.
inner voice is not your cheerleader, you got to work at that. Work it. Like, okay, hold on. How do you think that helps me when you tear me down when I'm doing my best to make
Yeah.
the go of it? How does that help me? There's sometimes we need to have a board meeting for the inner voices in our heads and say, all right, people, we're calling a staff meeting and we're going to talk about some unacceptable behavior because that isn't helping.
Yeah.
If you can recognize the fact that you're that that there's like get a handle on that inner landscape, and sometimes you need to have a cultural shift on the inside of there,
Mhm.
and that this stuff actually, well, give it a go, give it a try, experiment with it. If what they say about insanity, to do the same thing that you've been doing and expect different results. Same thing that you're doing, expect different results. We talk a lot about this, and we're going to continue to talk about it. Because I say it all the time, and it bears being repeated and repeated and repeated. There's only one person that can shift the inner dialogue. That's it.
It's absolutely positively true. And it's so easy for us to forget like all of the power is inside of us and all of the answers are there as well. We had a comment, I'm so unsettled in this life, like I'm missing out on something. I think a lot of people feel that way in this human experience, like a part of them is missing, right? Like, um, it's one of those questions that I get asked often in my sessions, and I never have an answer for it because I feel that way often myself. But the thing for me is I used to get lost in the searching for what I was missing out on instead of being in the present moment, realizing that everything that I need is here now. And so I've never been really available for advice or suggestions or insight or anything like that on that topic. Have you?
Yes, because I could see why you wouldn't. So let's talk a little human design. So you are a manifester, and I'm a manifesting generator. And the bulk of humanity is a manifesting generator or a generator. And we will have this desire to be beyond just living in response. We
Mhm.
want to create something. We want to initiate something. There's got to be something else I could search for. Well, when you're in a generator or manifesting generator body, searching is not the point. It is learning to simply be in response and appreciate where you are in any given moment and respond to the world that's external to you, instead of getting lost in fear of that FOMO that's going on, to say,
Mhm.
okay, yes. So I recognize the fact that that's a common malady that happens to generators. Like, I've got to make something happen. This can't
Mhm.
be this can't be it. Can't be all this
There has to be
nonsense.
more than this.
And so it's really common for a lot of humans to experience that. So the antidote to that is to relax and shift to just responding to life. Now, what that means is walk outside and you'll hear a bird. You'll watch a car go by. It's very simple to learn about being in response. That it's life is happening around you,
Mhm.
outside of your head, outside of the brain contemplation. Most often, we just need to get into our community or get out of the house and lay on the ground or various things. It might seem super simple, not easy. Sometimes it's the hardest thing for a person to go to a park and lay on the grass.
Mhm.
But there's part of that's what comes up. That's what comes to mind when I hear that statement.
Mhm.
And I can see why it doesn't resonate with you. We just had a conversation about that, how some people are that stuff, that's it. No, that's yes. So
Yeah.
connect to your environment.
Mhm.
Connect to it.
There was a comment. Oh, where we have lots of stuff coming in tonight. You guys are active. I love it. We love you joining the conversation. Um, oh, here, Genghis. Sometimes it can feel like a good, refreshing inhale, exhale out the negative thought.
Yes.
I always resort to breath in any moment where my head is getting in the way. I think it's really important to breathe. Just breathe. Um, and there was another comment. Some people seem to have it so together, and I responded with nothing is as it seems. Like our mind is so good at having us believe this grand story about this, that, or the other, and it's just not true. It's just not true. And
No.
go ahead.
So comments like that, I say to comments like that, in the comparison game, when you look at someone you think has it all together, you are looking at their togetherness compared to your lack of togetherness.
Yeah.
It is comparison does that. Generally it compares a person's like, you're comparing all the things that you don't have together to this person's togetherness. So why don't you imagine what they don't have together? Because everybody has something that's not together. And
Everybody
it's
does.
apples to oranges. It doesn't compute.
And the thing is, especially if you're an observer and people know you're observing, they'll show you an image or a vision or something of maybe what they're wanting, not necessarily what they have. And
Well,
so
the
nothing.
person, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The person that's driving a fancy car often has a very big car payment.
Natalie-isms. Yes. So true. Here's another question. What do healthy energetic boundaries look like to you guys? Is it possible to go too far when trying to protect yourself?
Yes.
You go too far, you miss out on the experience, my friend.
So the human design teaches that we have definition, and that's the student, and where we go to school is our undefined areas, and there really is no way of blocking that off. So I have so that's one of the things that understand is learning how to separate what's you from what you're experiencing from the external world around you, and just simply let it pass through you instead of trying to like block it all off. Back when I would study like magic and spells, magic with a K, and different things like that, I would read about the egg. You could cocoon yourself in the egg. So you can cocoon yourself in the egg. And I remember reading this thing that said this person did this and they got absolutely 0 phone calls for like a whole entire day because they were so protected. Nothing got through. Nothing.
Yeah.
So like the little chick that's inside the egg you can't get into that chick.
Yeah.
Because it's so solid, your thing.
Right. I don't ever agree for myself personally to answer that question to completely protect myself from all energies. I feel like we miss out on a lot when we're overdoing the work, overdoing the spiritual work or the coulda, shoulda, wouldas or anything like that. We're missing the point of being in the present moment or having the opportunity to have the experience. And so I understand like energetically having a certain level of protection just because there are, energies and things happening around you, but also an allowance to let things in. When you completely protect yourself, you're not just protecting yourself from like those negative experiences or energies, but you're protecting yourself from all the good too, from anything.
Because there's also spiritual teachings that say there's really nothing ever to protect yourself from. If you trust your life, then you trust everything that shows up is for you, not to you. And the great lessons that can be learned by leaning in to the situation. And I appreciate the teachings that says, look, the person that can get under your skin is your master. That's your guru. That's the person that showed up in your life to make you stronger, without resistance. So, we need weights to build our muscles. So life gives us aspects that are in the form of another human that come to challenge us so that we can grow, we can lean in for the expansion. Now, there is also the opportunity, and sometimes the lesson is, who do you walk away from?
Yeah.
And just choose out of. Bless them for being that person, and just bless them of being that way in life. I mean, and I really like to use this analogy of, it's all a big drama. And there's no good television show without an arch enemy. Like, someone has to be the bad witch.
It's true.
Or wizard. Even in the little kid shows, if you watch little kid shows and you watch their thing, they have a little punk little kid being a bad person so that the good people can come in and save the day.
Yeah.
So yes, there's crappy people. But I have found, the more I work on myself, the less those people come around.
It's
The
true.
less encounters I have with people that disturb my peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely more about being in response in the way that I live.
Definitely. I mean, just like all wanderings, we kind of got off the path a little bit, but everything is exactly how it's meant to be. And we listen to you guys. You have all of these questions, and we don't know everything, but we know from our experiences and our teachings and all of our studies of what we do, and we'll offer that to you. So
Oh, I think this still goes back to the home environment, because every time you enter your house or where you live, you bring yourself with you, and you sprinkle the environment with you and your essence and your aura. And there's a little trick that said, look, if you have crappy things at your workplace, hang them on the tree outside of your house before you go in through your front door or your garage door, so that you can leave that energy out there. And the earth is the amazing recycler. She knows how to take all the garbage stuff and just refurbish that in some way, give it to Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the ground, the trees. They breathe in our carbon dioxide and change it to oxygen. It's an amazing thing.
so good.
It's like, just let that stuff down, be willing to let it down, and then you take a cleaner, more effective aura into your own place where you live, and it becomes more and more like home. Drop the negative attitude at the door. If you have to drop something physical for a while to really catch the idea of that. Either way, it works if you're willing.
Yeah, absolutely. I practice clearing my space on a regular basis. When you go out into the world, energies collect on you, and you bring them with you. I'm really into smudging and herbs and things like that, and so it's a natural practice for me. When I first come into my office, I put some oils in the diffuser, light an incense, do my sprays. When I go into my home, I do the exact same thing. It's a ritual that I really have developed for myself and practice it like without hesitation and not even a day off. It's like a thing. It's just part of me and what I do. And I think if you can find practices that resonate with you and really bring you to that center and that peace in your life, I think that really helps you gain footing and a solid foundation for you to do the work, right? To do all of the things you need for yourself to feel at home.
So to do the work or to do the life. It's
Whatever
not
it
always
is,
work, it's lifing.
it's whatever it is for you. Yeah. I think here's a good comment. Being unapologetically you and doing it on purpose, being your best self means doing your best in any circumstance. Happy, sad, scared, etc. You did your best in that moment.
Oh, yep, just like the 4 agreements. Always do your best.
Yeah. Always do your best.
Like Angela was at, bring in the good work energy home. You go, girl.
Yeah. Angela is part of the Vibes tribe. We have a couple of them in here tonight. Awesome.
Yeah,
Love
sometimes
it.
we have to take that joy that we feel elsewhere and sprinkle it in our house and home.
Into the world. Be the light. Be the light. I really have enjoyed this topic. Thanks for picking it out for us.
Oh, you're welcome. Has been fun.
It is. It really has been. I really enjoyed it. If you guys haven't yet liked this video that we're creating live in this moment, please do so. Make a comment, do a thumbs up, do both. Facebook, YouTube. Just as a reminder, you can learn more about Natalie and myself on soulwanderings.com. And if you have a show topic that you would like us to discuss in more depth, you can email us at connect@soulwanderings.com. And when you're on our pages, you can link to all of our social media there. We're on Instagram, Facebook, a couple of places. And then if you want to learn more about us and the other practitioners in our space, and you're local to the area, um, and are interested in any opportunities with us, vibesnow.com is where you'll want to go. And some of us, Natalie is one of those, does long distance sessions with human design. So,
Or
yeah,
grief.
grief and human design.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, everyone, for your support, your participation. And we'll see you guys all next week on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain. Until then, have a glorious week, y'all.
Good evening to you all.
Happy day.